Hello and welcome. This is Jonathan Gernon, and this will be my week number 5 multimedia presentation for MPA 594 at Cal Baptist University. Today, we're going to be looking at an organization, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, near and dear to myself and my home organization here. And we're going to be looking at this from the perspective of a problem that needs to be changed. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at a sergeant, captain, lieutenant, somebody of that nature, who's been brought in to reduce the turnover rate by 10%. Now, with that being said, certain turnover rate is inevitable. You have people that are injured and are taken out of commission, and you have people that retire. So we're not even going to be looking at those brackets, as that is inevitable turnover, which is why we constantly have an influx. We're going to be looking at how to reduce the new hire turnover, where people are going to other organizations or quitting being in law enforcement. Now the question is how are we going to do this? Well, we were able to identify 3 places where we're going to be able to make a substantial impact on this problem. The person's going to need to look at motivation, leadership, and the structure over the organization. We're going to assume that this person has been given free will to make the changes, and the changes will be implemented. First, let's look at motivation. First thing that we look at in motivation is going to be Mary Parker Follett. Not only did she come up with structure for how to organize a system, but her idea of reciprocal relationships and having leadership, actually creating an environment where the people matter, is going to be big. So when you want a feeling of belonging, when you're looking to be a part of things, it's up to management and the leaders to be able to bring people into things and make them feel like they're making an impact. Which brings us directly over into Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now within Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you have your physiological safety, belonging, esteem, self-realization, and we got all the tier. Where is the point though? Where's the cutoff point for retaining these people? I believe that this person for the Sheriff's Department is going to really need to focus on that center tier, on that belonging. Because once you feel that you're a part of something bigger than yourself, you're going to be more likely to stay. If you're simply looking out for yourself, then you don't have what you need. With that being said, one of the key things within Maslow's hierarchy of needs is your first step, your physiological step. Food, water, sleep, all of that good stuff. Now, in our cultural society of capitalism, you do need money in order to have those things, and you need money to even move up to the next step of safety and security. So one of the things we're going to be looking at is level of pay, but we're going to get to that when we get to structure. So right there at that belonging. So if we've covered those bottom levels, we're at belonging. People feel that they're part of something bigger than themselves. They're going to be right there in the belonging. So then we can move on over to our X and Y theories from McGregor. Now, X and Y theory is very interesting because a lot of people talk about how they're either a theory X manager or a theory Y manager. They believe that all people are either motivated intrinsically, they're motivated by themselves, their work in itself is the motivation, or we can go theory X-wise. The manager believes that all people are only there to get a paycheck. Work doesn't come natural to people. They have to be motivated through penalties and rewards. Well, I don't agree with that. Now, I think the manager should look at things on an individual level. And when we get into an individual level, we have theory X people and we have theory Y people. We have people who are developed on intrinsic rewards. And we have people who are not, people that want the promotions, that want the prestige, that want the paycheck. Those are your theory X people. And we need to look at things on an individual level and see what each employee needs, which means we need to break it down more than them just being a number, and we got to get down deep and understand them as a person. So again, we're coming back to that middle level on Maslow. We're looking at that belonging, where you are part of something bigger than yourselves, and I think that's really what separates it. Those are really easy to fill for Theory Y people. Below that, your Theory X people, those are the people that need more to get them up into above that line. So you don't want people that are Theory Y to drop below it, and you want to get people that are Theory X above it. And you're going to have to cater it to each person, which again comes right on back over to Follett, where the leader really needs to focus on what does the person need to encourage that reciprocal relationship, to keep them and reduce that turnover rate. The next thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at our leadership. So we're going to take our sergeant level, we're going to take our leaders, and we're going to break them down. And we're going to tell them to forget about all those bad leaders that they've seen and start looking at a new way to lead. And we're going to start with our value-based leadership. Now, value-based leadership, the idea behind this is that the values of the leaders and the values of the organization are going to line up, that these are going to be based on moral values on how they're going to deliver the goods and services. So we can even go back. Now, one of the key things for this is going to be that this needs to be transformational. It's going to depend on certain things. And the first thing that needs to happen is inside of the leader. We're going to need the values of that leader, the true values, the beliefs, and the worldview. We need those to line up with our organizational goals. Because if they don't, then when we look at the behavior isn't going to line up with what we're saying, which brings us right to our next style of leadership, our authentic leadership. When you have an authentic leader, you can tell that they truly believe in the mission. They're not just saying what they've been told to say. Your authentic leadership is what's going to build trust, and your behaviors are going to model the authentic leadership. You're going to model the value leadership, and that's what's going to bring your employees into the same realm and want to be part of that. So we really need to go ahead and make sure that we are getting our values right so we can be authentic. Now, once we have that, we can go into a servant leadership mode. Now, servant leadership is something that I truly believe in. I believe that when you move up through the organizational change, you are simply there to support the previous level. For example, if you're a deputy or a police officer and your job is to serve the public, you get promoted. Now you're a detective. Your job is to serve the deputies and to serve the public. And as you keep moving up the organization, you're moving further and further down that inverted pyramid until you're the sheriff or the chief of police, and now you're supporting everybody all the way through the public. Now, of course, who modeled this the best but Jesus? Jesus was truly all of this put together. He had the proper values, he was authentic, and I mean, he even washed his disciples' feet. You know, he was on the top of the pyramid, but he was there to support everybody, and obviously, through his death, really did serve us all. So now that we've looked at our motivation, we've looked at our leadership, how do we implement this? Well, to implement this, we're going to need to look at our structure of our organization. So one of the biggest things that we're looking at here is our hierarchy. What is the chain of command? Looking at Weber, Fayol, what's our normal chain of command? Our separation of work and our flow of communication. Well, in a local police department, you have pretty much what this shows here on the pyramid. You got your deputy and patrol sergeants and patrol officers. It moves up sergeants, lieutenants, captains, chiefs, all the way up to your sheriff or your police chief. And traditionally, you just pass along the message up to the next rank, and you hope that it's going to get where it goes. Well, we have a generational influx of a group called the millennials. Now, one of the big things that the millennials want to do is they want to make an impact on things. When you simply send a message to the next level and hope that it gets to the top and you never really know, it's kind of hard to know if you're making an impact or not. This kind of comes down to the cats and cons kind of theory of systems. So you have a traditional system here where you're going to put it into the system and then it'll go through the formal chains and then it'll come out as something. Hopefully it'll come out. It may just get lost in the shuffle. So we can move on from that formal to the informal. Now we can make the informal official by flattening the organization. When you have a tall organization, you have a lot of middle managers, you have a lot of places where messages can get lost. When you flatten the organization, you lower the amount of people that are reported to, and you can make a flat organization. You can keep the same structure of hierarchy of command, and you can flatten the structure by allowing people to skip past certain places. A patrol sergeant isn't concerned if you have a question about uniforms, so why not let the patrol officer bring his uniform question directly to the lieutenant that's in charge of uniforms. This way they can get a response straight from them and feel like they're actually making an impact to help with reducing our turnover rate. This actually takes Cats and Cons' informal system where they're looking at communication between peers becoming the norm and becoming the standard, and transforming it into what is going to be the formal communication. So in order to do this, though, we really need to simplify things, and that's where the PAWS Corp is going to come in. So planning, organization, staffing, directing, coordinating, reporting, and budgeting. I told you we were going to get back to budgeting, so here we go. We do work in a capitalistic society, so one of the things that we're going to need to do is monitor our budgeting. We're going to need to make sure that we're on pace with other agencies that are of similar nature. So being the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, we're going to need to look at Ontario PD, Riverside County Sheriff's Department, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, places like that, and make sure that we're on par with our pay, retirements, and benefits to try and just retain these people, try and reduce that turnover rate. As far as planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating, reporting, we're going to need to alter those to better reflect what we've talked about with our motivation, our leadership, and our structure. Who do we go to? How do we go to them? What type of values are our leaders doing? And how are they trying to motivate the people to make them feel like they're making an impact? So, in conclusion, I put up here a little list of the different generations because right now we're in a place where all of these people are part of the generations, and unfortunately it seems like we have some people who are the bulk of the workforce in the lower end of law enforcement right now, which are Generation Y, our millennials, and they're being led by the Gen Xers and a lot of baby boomers. Unfortunately, what's important to certain people aren't important to others, which is again why we need to come back down. We need to come into an individualized sense of motivation where we're following up with people and we're making them people. Not just a number, not just a place, not just a resource that's easily replaceable. We need to understand them as people. We need to be able to model for them the type of leader that we want to be. And this isn't just in words, this is in our actions and our behaviors. And we need to change the structure of the organization for them. The idea that this is the way we've always done it is not a good idea. We need to be able to justify it, and if we can't justify it, we need to change it for the better. Well, folks, thank you guys all so much for watching my presentation here. Congratulations, we're on week 6. We're almost there. We're almost Masters of Public Administration. I wish you all the best. God bless, and I hope that you guys have an absolutely wonderful day. Thank you.